What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. Harry Scarfe here. I want to talk to you about Richarlison. But before we do, if you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. So should Tottenham cash in on Richarlison? Should we get him gone, as the thumbnail says? Let's get straight to it, dissect it then. So with Richarlison, I think we paid too much money for him initially when we signed him from Everton. I think it's a player that clearly we thought was going to increase in value. It was maybe a little bit of a risk when we signed him. And I really like Richarlison, right? He's been through a lot off the pitch, mental health battles, and I love and think he's really brave just how he come out and spoke about his struggles. And I love that he fights for the badge. He gives it everything. You know, he really represents the club motto, what the club's about, to dare is to do. Passion. And I just love that. They're halfway there. When you want the club, you love the club, you want to stay there, you'll give it 110%. It's so hard to want to get rid of a player that, stands for those values and really represents you in the right way for a club. But I look at Richarlison, and if you said to me, Harry, do you think that Richarlison is going to stay fit for the season? No. Do you think he's going to get injured, probably more than once? Yeah, I do. And if Richarlison, it's two problems for me that stops him from thriving under Thomas Frank. There's two problems. One is the injury situation. I can't see him staying fit. It's just one of those players, and you get them, don't you, where your injuries hamper your career for ages. Once you get maybe one injury in one area, it happens. Richarlison's forever getting injured. Of course, that can be worked on, that can be improved with proper surgery, proper recovery time, and the right medical team around him, which I don't think he's had in the past at Spurs, to say the least. I think we can all agree on that. The second thing that the problem is, and the second barrier, if you like, is consistency. Richarlison had a game, didn't he, where he's like a few games in a row, always like in a month where he'd scored 6 or 7 in a month, or he had a really good record at one point in the season, like scoring most weeks or getting assists most weeks, but it just seems to fall off down a cliff, which is a shame. And I think he's really important in our Europa League campaign, even that final, no goals or assists, but he works hard, presses. To be clear, I think we should be probably giving him an opportunity under Thomas Frank, because Frank seems to like him and he could really suit him. And Thomas Frank gets a lot out of a striker. That's what's important to know. However, that chance could be just pre-season. When I say give him a chance, I don't mean I'll give him till January. It could be pre-season. I want to see him. I want Thomas Frank to see. What's he like in training? Can he stay fit? Will be really interesting to see. So I am split. If I had to be honest and had to be harsh and ruthless, I'd be very honest with you and say there are better alternatives. Johan Wissa, for example, I think will highly likely go to Newcastle, maybe even by the time this video reaches you. But if we're ambitious, we're a serious club, we want to get back into that top 4, 5, whatever it be, to get Champions League football that way, rather than win a trophy. Either way, it's fine, of course, by the way. But the point is that we'd cash in on Richarlison, we'd take a loss, and then sign Johan Wissa, which would probably be a little bit more money. I know he's 29, so someone would say, okay, it's not the most ambitious, but the next 3 years or so, that's the top signing Thomas Frank's worked under him. But what gives me a little bit of hope about Richarlison, because under Ange, I was like, look, you need to go at the end of the season, but it gives me a little bit of hope, and I've got in the back of my mind, should we give him till January? The only reason I think that is because of what Frank does with the number 9. Obviously, Ivan Toney, record speaks for himself, good striker anyway. Thomas Frank got a lot out of him at Brentford, and really made him the player he is today and increased his value. Sherry went to Saudi. And Johan Wissa, we just naturally assume, Tottenham fans, Premier League fans, that Johan Wissa is a striker. No, he was actually a wide forward that Thomas Frank converted into a striker. And Sharda played there and done very well. I can see Johnson or Richarlison potentially playing that striker role. I can see him getting a lot out of Solanke. That's what's really exciting, because the Thomas Frank system involves a lot to do with, yes, the fullbacks, like with Ange, but also the wingers. Balls are going in the box, not crossing for the sake of it. There'll be a lot of balls in the box. There'll be a lot of goal-scoring opportunities. And who's good with their head, if you think about it? Richarlison. So at this moment in time, I struggle to answer the question. It really depends on the offer. If we get an offer of 20, 25 million come in, I personally think we keep Richarlison until January and judge it by then. If he gets injured before then, or he isn't consistent, or he isn't, let's say he's got 1 or 2, 3 goals, or a couple of assists, get rid. Again, a lot of it does depend on alternatives that we can bring in. I've said that. It might be that we get remove Richarlison, or say sell Richarlison, loan Richarlison, whatever it may be, depending on who's interested and from what country. But bringing in someone like Garnacho in winger instead, it might not be exactly a striker. Again, it's who Frank deems to play as a striker. So I don't think the decision will be made on Richarlison in the future quickly. I think he'll want to stay. Again, depends on offers. But I don't believe the reports. But if the reports are even true that we could get 50 to 55 million from teams like Palmeiras, was it, or Pescas, there's clubs like that over in Brazil, and that would be, if they're reportedly willing to pay that, then we have to accept that in my eyes. And then because you actually end up paying a little bit less for Wissa. If there's a situation where we can sell Richarlison and sign Wissa with a very small marginal, if any, gap, if we just, let's say for whatever reason, I don't know, we pay 40 million for Wissa and sell Richarlison for 40, I don't think this will be the case, then that's a no-brainer for me, because Wissa is an upgrade, and it's a significant upgrade too. I do like Richarlison, but I think it was been a poor signing. It's been another waste of money. I wish it really work out for him. I really want it out of anyone. I want everyone to do well and everyone to work at Spurs. Richarlison, there's just something about him where I just go, it's just hard to let go. But if this summer, the right, let's be crystal clear with this, because I don't think I have been so far. If the right offer comes in for Richarlison and the right alternative for Frank and his system is available, I'm thinking about Johan Wissa in particular here, Garnacho, whoever it may be, then we have to sell. So I'm leaning towards sell. However, if we get a 15, 20, even 25 million pound offer, I think we give Richarlison to January. I hope that's clear. That's where I stand on it. How do you feel? So actually, when I made this, when the thumbnail was made for me by my incredible graphics designer, Wilsey, I was 100% like sell Richarlison. This was around the time, just before, I think, or around the time Thomas Frank was appointed. My mind's changed the more I think about it. I think give him a chance in pre-season. That's big. If he doesn't impress in pre-season or gets injured, for God forbid, again in pre-season, or is inconsistent in the pre-season games, the door's there. So if you held a gun to my head right now, Richarlison keep or sell, it'd be sell. But part of me wants to give him one more chance. That's where I stand on it. So I believe if it is going to work for Richarlison at Tottenham, now is the time. He's got the right manager for it to work under Thomas Frank. Nobody has a better track record with number 9s, with strikers that weren't even a striker in the first place, wide forwards, etc. Thomas Frank has a track record of getting a lot out of bang average players or players that are out of form. Wissa wasn't in the best form when Frank came to Brentford. That's important to note. And he certainly was not a striker. He was a wide forward that Frank converted. So that does excite me. It's so tough. It's so tough. I'm not going to say anymore. That's where I stand. Get involved in the comments below. We could talk about it all day, but I'd lean towards sell. But hopefully Frank gives him a chance in pre-season and we'll go from there. But I think we keep him. If Wissa goes to Newcastle, or Wissa's not an option or isn't right for whatever reason, then you do keep Richarlison. You only consider selling Richarlison if the offer's right. And even then, there's got to be an alternative. We can't lose Richarlison and not replace. Even if we bring in a winger like Garnacho, as I said, it'd be good. But really, we need a striker to compete with Solanke. I like Solanke, but how good he is remains to be seen. I do back him, though, nonetheless. Those are my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Come back for more videos, for more podcasts, shorts, etc. Got a lot coming up for you. But that is my thoughts on Richarlison. I'll keep you updated, as always, the latest news here at the channel. Comedy Spurs.